Okay, time now for Fueling the Run, presented or delivered by Wendy's. Now let's take a look at how each of these teams got here. We're going to start with South Carolina. They beat Tennessee Tech. That was a whopping 108-48. In the second round, they beat Indiana 64-53. Sweet 16, they beat Maryland 71-67. Elite Eight, they beat Duke. Final Four, of course, they beat Texas. Their average margin of victory is 19.2 points. Now, we talked a little bit before the last matchup of how USC really hadn't looked as dominant in the tournament as they have in previous years. What do you think they were able to change in that Final Four matchup, CP?
I think that for South Carolina, Joyce Edwards settled in to the level of intensity of the game. I think that leading up to this point, look, she's at the top of everybody's scouting report because as a freshman, she is leading this team in scoring. So I think that now, Joyce Edwards talk about it wasn't a matter of if, but when it would all start to click. And I think it all clicked for her on Wednesday. And if Joyce Edwards is playing like that, it could be the South Carolina Gamecocks cutting down nets.
I like that the lower third right here says South Carolina's path to the championship, as we literally watch South Carolina walk into Amalie Arena. That is their literal path, obviously. We said that there weren't that many South Carolina fans, but UConn fans also very excited to see the South Carolina women's basketball team walk in. But what do you think was the difference in that matchup?
I'm with Carolyn. It's just a little bit more time and adjustments and knowing each other and just stepping up to the plate when your name is called. Joyce Edwards, Monica Manette referenced that she's closer to a sophomore now. She has all the competitive games under her belt. She's made for the moment. She's used to being here now.
I was reading an article this morning. Tahina Paopao, she's a very spiritual player.
Yeah.
She talked about I believe. She has spoken that ever since this tournament has started. And so other players have talked about how that has affected them, of the belief. So imagine when you see a senior as a freshman talking about I believe.
Yeah.
Bree Hall said I believe as well. Well, Joyce Edwards is starting to believe that she belongs in this moment and can get it done.
And honestly, there's so much chatter around how South Carolina's at a deficit. They're the underdog, but I don't even think that they lean into that underdog mentality. I think they want to do, like they want to perform their best for them. It's more so like us against everybody. I think their shirts even say Gamecocks versus everybody, so they have to internalize will to win within them.
So you don't think that they use the underdog mentality
You
at
know
all,
what?
even though a lot of people kind of doubted that they would be at this
They
point?
do. I mean, you know Dawn had the frustration about their path and how they didn't get the #1 overall seed, and she thinks that setting them up for the win, or by win mean #1 overall seed, was but through construct of their record. But I think that they really focus in with themselves, like how can we execute great basketball to achieve our goal as a national champion.
All right, let's take a look at UConn's path to the championship. We know what they did in the last game. They beat UCLA by 34 points, which is the largest margin of victory in a national semifinal game, which is insane. Are you surprised? I mean, we talked about even before the game, they were 7.5-point favorites to win that game, even though they were a lower seed. Are you surprised that they're now 6.5-point favorites over the defending champs already?
You know, their big three is so strong, no pun intended, because Sarah exists. But the combined numbers in their tournament are up over the regular season. They're averaging 60.6 points per game, 15 rebounds, 10 assists, 7 steals, 3 blocks. They're all over the place, shooting 55% from the field. Just that combined three-headed monster is enough to wear down anybody.
I don't think that Connecticut gets enough credit for their defense.
Yeah.
And it is not just one-on-one defensively, like it's not one-on-one offensively. They give up a good shot to get a great shot. You can sell out defensively because you know that your teammates are going to be there and the rotation is going to be there as well. So I think that as a collective whole, I think you did it yesterday, that this versus this, and Connecticut has come together like this to make that punch to try to go after their national championship.
And they're first in the nation in defensive efficiency. I mean,
and offensive efficiency. They're first in both.
They're first in both. So, no, I'm not surprised that they're the favorite over the Gamecocks, but I do think it's going to be very competitive, and it can go either way.
And that's that underdog mentality once again.
Fine.
You're talking about South Carolina.
Fine.
Okay, let's talk about AZ Fudd, because we saw what she was able to do in the Final Four, right? We kind of expected Paige to have the kind of run that she's had throughout the tournament, but she didn't, and AZ Fudd really stepped up in a major way. How does she carry that success over in today's matchup?
Well, when you look at the game on Friday, AZ Fudd stepped into the game and had 19 points, and they all came in the first half. I don't think it was that Paige Beckers had a bad game, but you go to what's working. So in the first half, it's AZ Fudd. Paige Beckers did a little bit in both halves, and then it was Sarah Strong that turned it up in the second half. The balance for the big three, I think, has been key for Connecticut. And Fudd now, I think, she's found her rhythm. She belongs. Gina Ariema has told her, we don't need you to be a passer. You were put in the game to shoot the ball, and she's doing that.
Imagine a coach that has all that talent on the offensive end that has to force their players to shoot. Hilarious.
All right, that was Fueling the Run, delivered by Wendy's. Head to wendys.com/MarchMadness to grab your meal before game time. It's going to be delicious. All right, let's look forward.